This is a mess. But before I can get this garage from looking like this to looking like this, well, I have a lot of work to do. Fortunately, I have a few 3D printers that are going to help out a lot. And I have something else come in that's going to help me lift it all to a whole new level. But we're going to talk about that a little bit later.
Getting started, couldn't help looking around the internet and just trying to find some inspiration from, garages that people have made out there. And, well, some of them are kind of crazy. I mean, I love the cars and all, but those clean floors, that's just not going to work for me. I did see a number of things that I do like, so let's try to incorporate some of those. Getting started with this whole garage project, well, as I said before, is going to take a lot of cleaning. With the crazy weather that we've been having, I tried putting everything under a little tent as I was working on things. Then I had to kind of close up for the day and start all over again later. It was a never-ending battle, and things just sort of got more and more frustrating until, well, I came close to snapping. The whole idea for this video really kind of came about when I was looking for a way to move some of my storage closer to the ceiling without stacking it closer to the ceiling. Well, then FlexiMount offered to send over 2 of the GL1 garage lifting storage racks. Now, they're supposed to hold up to 300 pounds in this 4x4 foot area, and, well, I've always been a little skeptical of how safe these things are, so I definitely made sure I was going to follow the instructions. Fortunately, they're really clear and easy to use. The provided template for the ceiling, well, it kind of seems like a pain at first, but I found that taping it up as per the instructions, that's really absolutely necessary, and I found that it helped a lot. Also, it really helps to have a second person, even if they don't want to be on camera. As I said, I followed all the instructions down to the last letter, and I'm really glad I did. Little things I might have skipped, like marking the places to drill with a pencil, well, that really made it all easier. After drilling the holes into the rafters, where those pencil marks are, then I just put the brackets into place with the large bolts, and it was all super easy. And then it was just as simple to slide the main axle part into place. Adding a few retaining bolts for security definitely helped my peace of mind. Next was getting the cables into place, and, well, that was a bit of an adventure because, well, cables. They just seem to always get twisted around no matter what you do. Next was setting up the wire grid, and that really wasn't that big of a deal, and since I had it available, I used my power drill instead of the included manual tool. Now, the only thing I did wrong here, maybe, was to, I think, over-tighten the connectors a little bit, and the grid bent a little bit, but hey, it's not coming loose. Then it was time to connect the cables to the grid, and, well, this was another crazy adventure, but I did make it through. I think God gave us cables to test our patience, or something. I was definitely tested.
Surrender! No more!
Speaking of tests, I wanted to try that handle that they included with everything and just see how that works. And guess what? It works. I think I'm still going to use my drill instead, though. That makes it go a lot faster. Now, it was about this point that I realized something you probably have already noticed, that the template was still taped to the ceiling, even if the humidity was making it fall. Well, the instructions don't say anything about taking it down, but maybe they assumed I'm smart enough to figure it out. Ha! Fooled them. The FlexiMount GL1, it's supposed to lift around 300 pounds, and I thought it might be a good idea to get on there and try it out myself. Well, that's when I realized my little cordless drill, it's not cut out for this kind of work. I thought I'd mention that because you might want to know that as well. Ignore those knees, please. My dog Max, though, he had no problems with it, and neither did my daughter, but I'm really not sure either of those are great tests of what the GL1 can do. Setting up the second FlexiMount GL1, it went a lot quicker than the first one, and not just because I didn't film it for you, but I did want to point out those little end caps on the wire grid, well, they're super loose, and actually all of them fell out at some point during the build. I decided just to use some of the paper tape that they give you for the template, and I just covered the ends and stuck them right back in there. All good. Now, moving on to something else I've really wanted to do for a while in the garage. Put up some shelves. While I got these super heavy-duty shelf brackets printing on the 3D printers, I grabbed some of these boards that I already had and started putting them all together. I also made up a handy-dandy measurement guide, just to be extra. And, well, to make sure I didn't mess it up. That happens, The brackets I chose have a really nice design, and I'll have links for everything in this video in the description. I did have to resize the brackets for the wood to be just slightly smaller, and well, that threw off my screw holes. And not a big problem, I just needed to drill them all out. So let's see, that's 5 boards, 2 brackets, 4 screw holes each, and well, something like 5,000 times I drilled those out. I may have rounded that up a little bit. I mounted all the brackets to the boards, making sure my center line on the wall matched my board, and then I got everything level and tightened it all down. I kept thinking maybe I'm forgetting something, and well, then on the third shelf, it hit me. Power outlet. That's not a problem though, just some off-camera jigsaw work and a little video snap magic, and yeah, I'm no magician, but you get the picture. The rest of the shelves went up just like that. And then I get to put a whole bunch of paint cans and other stuff all over the shelves. Whoa, maybe I am a magician. I don't know if you're like me and you have this problem where you can print all these big things and man, they look great, but you forget about the little things, like this little piece. And, the blinds behind me, you may know where I'm going with this, but we were missing the little piece right there. That's been like that for months, and I never really crossed my mind that I could probably replace that. Found it online. I'll have the link in the description. And the first one didn't fit very well, and then I printed a couple of others at different percentages, and the small one didn't fit, so that's 80%, but the 90% fit perfect. Exactly what I needed to cover that gap, and now the blinds, they at least look better. They're blinds. Something else I've needed to do is get a handle on all these yard tools. I hadn't even considered doing something with them until I saw this tool rack, and I thought this might be great for at least getting some of them off the floor, especially this big lawn rake. Man, that thing's big. I only made a couple of the tool rack prints because honestly, I really wasn't sure if I would like it or if it would work, but offsetting them like this, well, that makes a real difference, and I'm going to be adding more to this down the road. This big 3D print is named Cable and Accessory Holder, and I guess that a garden hose is technically an accessory type of tool, which is good since this is the first and only thing I could think of using it for when I saw this holder. Of course, the original print is a good bit smaller, so I had to level it up a bit. And yeah, garden hoses are pretty much just like cables. put here to test us and make us question our sanity.
Serenity now!
I seem to always have a completely unreasonable amount of empty filament spools laying around, even though I threw away most of them recently. I wanted to try out one of those prints that use those spools, and I found this extension cable reel. I really didn't think this small 25-foot extension cord would fit, but look at that. It's bigger on the inside. Something else needing a home in the garage are these fishing poles. I didn't want to hide them somewhere out of sight, since we go fishing about every 10 years or so. Need to have them handy in case the bass are biting. Of course, just like friends, there's always that one that doesn't quite fit in. We keep them anyway, though, just in the corner. I actually looked at this gravity broom holder early on with thoughts of upsizing it from a lawn tools. I decided to stick to the intended purpose, though, and surprise my wife with a dedicated spot for the broom, right by the garage door opener, so she won't forget where it is when she tells me to sweep up my mess. I didn't think this one through.
Wow, there were times I did not think I would get this done, and it's been difficult at times. And in full transparency, no, we didn't get all of the garage done. It's been a crazy month. We've had massive thunderstorms over and over, nearly 100-degree temperature in between all of that. It's just been one of those things. But I tell you what, the 3D printers continued printing during all of that. And I don't know what you think. I'm very proud of the way this looks right now. Special thanks to my wife and my daughter for helping me out. I honestly could not have gotten done without them. And a very special thanks to FlexiMount for providing these two lifts for me to get these tubs off the ground. And we're gonna play with those. I know there's gonna be more Tetris stuff to do with all of that, and this isn't gonna look like this in a week probably. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this and you don't miss my other videos. And as I always say, let's all continue to learn, create, and amaze.